And welcome back, everyone, to the box office report today on the 29th of June, 2025. Did not get the box office right this week. Oh, man, did I not. I mean, I got number one right. That I predicted. But F1, the movie, $55.6 million. How to Train Your Dragon, 19.4 for number 2 spot. Elio made 10.7 for number 3 spot. M3gan 2.0 debuts with 10.2 million. And 28 years later, made another 9.7 for the number 5 spot. F1 made 55.6 million. Now, it made 88.4 million internationally for a grand worldwide total right now, about $144 million. The movie's really good. It is a great entertainment. It's a great spectacle. I do encourage anyone who's interested to go see it. If you like Brad Pitt, you'll like it. If you like Javier Bardem, you like it. If you like racing or action or like sports movies, you'll like it. The characters are fun. The action is intense. The actual driving is great. But 55.6 million doesn't cut it. I had to look up what the budget was on this, and there's still some conflicting reports on what the budget is. I have seen over 300 million, but I've also seen closer to 200 million. So now more reports seem to be leaning towards the 300 million. I'm going to average that at 250. Fair enough. I think that's a fair number, and that does make sense. It didn't have a huge marketing budget. So, in fact, I could look up F1 marketing budget real quick here. F1 marketing. Okay, there's budget, but I want marketing budget. Let's see here. Marketing budget. Do we have a marketing budget? Again, which is reported between 200 and 300. And that means the marketing could easily. Okay, that's a could. That's not a given. Because I don't really remember. I mean, I remember seeing the trailer plenty of times, but not a huge marketing campaign. So if we're going to be conservative about the guessing, we'll say 100 million. That seems to be the standard fare. So that means you're out in film made on 350. Roughly speaking, a film that needs to make about 525 to break even. Oh, this film's not doing that. Despite all the wins Warner Brothers got this year, financially and critically, this one might be critical. It's not going to be financial unless the international really pulls through on this film. And to be fair, Formula One is a lot more popular, from what I can tell, overseas than we used to have Formula One driving here in the States, sure, but it's like all over the world. It is an international sport. So it's not dead in the water. I can't say that because I have seen films, aka like Mufasa of the Lion King story, that opened on shit numbers for their budget and still managed to not just make their money back, but make a profit. It's not impossible. We've seen bigger miracles happen. But this is not a good start. A film, it was tracking apparently for like 75 million or more too. So it came in way under the tracking, at least from what I understand. So I guess the question is, why did it come in as low as it did compared to what the estimates were? A, not many people cared about F1, Formula Racing, as maybe they thought. 2, there's other movies out right now that if you're going to be taking, like, say, a family to them, I mean, you got How to Train Your Dragon, Elio, M3gan 2.0, Stitch. You got all these films out. Mission Impossible is in our, like, massive action franchise. It might have gotten muddled a little bit in here, even with being the new release and being more, not true story-esque in its approach. It's not, but you get my meaning. It has a more grounded feel to it. But maybe people aren't really looking for that. It is the summer movie season. I'm not saying this won't do well per se. It could still do well, but based on the movie we got in the summer we're in right now, this might not have been the best time to release it. Especially because we got a little movie called Jurassic World Rebirth coming out this week. You've also got Superman the next week, Smurfs the following week, and Fantastic Four the week after that. This thing's gonna get buried. Like, I'm not gonna mince words on it. This thing's actually gonna do terrible for long viewing numbers, I think, because it's got too much competition. You might say, well, they're not the same type of movie. Doesn't matter. The big blockbuster tentpole property is probably going to attract more money in its opening week than F1 Formula One racing movie that was solid in its second week. Like this, I'm going to say it right now, I think they chose a bad time of year to put this out. I think they really did. Maybe not the time of year, but they looked at the other releases and I think they just didn't. And they got another one of their movies out with Superman. Again, completely different genre, but it is their movie. It's Warner Brothers. So, look, if I were to, I'm just going to get the roster of movies up that are still coming out. If I were to look at the remainder of the year right now, because I don't know, because let me say this. If they weren't looking for, say, awards consideration, earlier in the year might have been better. This April only had Minecraft really, but that and Sinners, and which to be fair were both Warner Brothers films, so maybe that wouldn't work. But maybe March might not have been a bad idea. So come on, give me the rest. Okay, so that's all of July. Like I said, we got Fantastic Four end of July. In August, we got Bad Guys 2, Naked Gun, Weapons, Witchboard, Nobody 2. Honestly, August could have maybe worked. We saw Gran Turismo. It didn't do great, but still, August, it could have maybe owned August into September. And September even doesn't have that much going for it, to be honest. Tron Ares, I guess. Oh, I'll just skip September, went right into October. Holy crap. So yes, honestly, August and September area, that might have been the better area to put it in. No lie, because October, yeah, you got Tron Ares, Black Phone 2, Springsteen movie, Mortal Kombat 2, and then Predator Badlands in November. But honestly, yeah, no, I think the biggest thing that hurt it is it's in the wrong time of year. It doesn't feel like a summer, like I enjoyed it, but if I'm going to be honest, it doesn't feel like a summertime blockbuster. It feels like a good event, sure, but not a summertime movie. Speaking of summertime movies, though, $19.4 million this week for How to Train Your Dragon. Took another good job. Currently stands at $454 million, which, you know what? That does, I believe, put it on track to at least be higher than the third movie. But it's probably not, it is now losing steam. Last I checked, it was like at 380 something, so it didn't even make 100 million this week. It made like 70, including the 19. So it's probably going to close out somewhere between 500 million and 550. And you know what? If I remember correctly, the budget is pretty minor on this. All things considered, I think it's like $100 million budget. Yeah, it's $150 million budget, sorry. And about 100 in marketing. So yeah, you are looking at a film that made its money back and it's still making money now. And they're greenlit. They already said they were making the sequel. They'll make the sequel to it. And maybe it will do better. And you know what? Kudos. Again, it's one of the remakes that I do think works. Not every remake works. I do think this one translated well into the live action medium. So I do think that was a win. And good for him. So let's see here. Then that leads us to Elio. Now, to Elio's credit, it didn't drop. It dropped under 50%, which is good for Elio. Elio, though, is made on a... What was Elio's budget again? I know it's a number that's going to make anyone who worked on the film cry. Let's see here. Let's see. Elio. Oh, Elio. Okay, now that's not giving me the budget. Okay, Elio budget. 150. I'm sorry, what? Because it got pushed up, maybe I can see it balloon about 300 million because of that. Yeah, no. Against $250 million animation. But okay, so D, if you're talking about ballooning 150, that does make sense to 250. Let's just conservatively right now say it stayed at the 150. That means this film would still have to make at least 300 million minimum just to break even. The amount of money this film is going to lose is going to be immense. So again, we asked ourselves the question of what happened here. Why did it not have a good opening weekend? And now luckily it had a decent second weekend. I can't argue that point. I wasn't a big fan of the movie. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I at best liked it. But a lot of people and the critics and audiences all liked it a lot. So I'm actually in the minority of people who wasn't that fond of it. But it's kind of a moot point when you don't open to a good number. If they had opened on, like, say, even 40 million, that drop would actually be a lot more impressive. Still would not be a good number, but it'd still be a lot more impressive. So, again, why did it not work? Well, again, my theories are this. A, the trailers weren't very good to begin with. B, it didn't look like a unique movie, and it's not a very unique movie, to be honest. And the amount of time we saw the trailer for, and the pushing, and pushing the date. They had to push. I believe it was because of the strikes, admittedly, so they couldn't promote the film during the strikes. But unfortunately, like something like Ballerina, also, which also did not do well at the box office because of the strikes and the inability to promote it near the date it was coming out, it just got lost. I'll be honest too. Even if you did have its original release date, whatever it was, I don't think this film would have done very well. I just don't think it's a very good. I don't think it's a great film. And B, it wasn't capturing the appeal for a lot of people. So unfortunately, this is going to be a really, really big loss for Disney. And Disney has struggled a little bit this year, and they still got Fantastic Four, Zootopia, and a couple other movies coming out. And Avatar, they'll be fine financially this year. But man, they've had a rough patch this year. Thunderbolts, great movie, underperformed. Captain America, mediocre movie. Did about what a mediocre movie would have done. It managed to almost broke even, but not quite. Lilo and Stitch did very, very well. It's still doing very, very well. In fact, let's just talk Lilo and Stitch real quick. 6.9 million, currently at 945.9, so $46 million. It's about to cross Minecraft as the highest grossing film of the year. So it does look like it's at least going to beat that. It's still got another 54 million to go to hit $1 billion. I don't see it happening, but who knows? Anything's possible. It's in its current 6th week. But again, people keep going back to see it. It is, it's a phenomenon. It's a worldwide phenomenon, pretty much. So there's that at least. M3gan 2.0, $10.2 million opening, which, it's made on more than the original, not by much, 25 million. You have to assume probably at least 30 million in marketing, because I do remember seeing those trailers, maybe even 40. So I wouldn't be surprised they pushed it to 40. You'd be looking at a film that is made on roughly 60 to 65 million. So you're looking at a film that has to, roughly speaking, 100 million to break even. Even if I lowballed it more to, like, say, a 30, 35 million, you'd still be looking at a film that's made on, 60 million, roughly? That means you still got to make 90 million just to break even. And look, I get it. The first M3gan was a surprise hit. It made a lot of money. So, of course, they're going to want to do another one. They set it up for another one. But, yeah, this is not the number they were hoping for. And the reviews aren't that great either. I think it's only like a 50-something from the critics. They really apparently leaned into the wackiness of the film. But apparently that didn't quite work. But, look, it's 25 million, not a big margin to clear. But, again, it's got to, based on what we saw, it clearly has more than, 20 million. It's got to have at least 35, 40 million minimum. So I don't see this film making its money back, unfortunately. And Universal is also a film that a movie that is also having a good year. How to Train Your Dragon did very well. I know they had something else that was pretty good this year, that did well this year. But they're having a good year. No one's actually having a piss poor year this year, per se, save for maybe Lionsgate. So I don't see it doing well. We'll have to see what, and again, everything is running into a dinosaur-sized roadblock this week. So, because honestly, Jurassic World Rebirth kind of hits nearly every demographic on here. Yeah, the sports movie maybe not so much, but it's still, big lead stars with Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, action movie, so it's got that going for it. Dragon, kids love dinosaurs, so 28 years later is not doing the greatest. It dropped 60% this week. Not even 60%, 67.7%. Holy crap. Now, it stands at $103 million, which is good. It's not bad. It's crossed 100 million in 2 weeks. if I remember correctly, 28 years later. Its budget is hold on, 28 years later budget. Its budget is okay, 60 million is what the budget is. You factor probably about 50 in marketing, roughly. And you're looking at a film that needs to hit not even 180, like 170, 165, and they'll be good. I'm not saying it's on track to break even. I actually don't think it will break even based on these numbers. I will say, though, it's not going to be a huge loss for Sony. And they can warrant doing the next movie as well. From my understanding, it's not a bad movie. It's a solid movie, but it gets weird. It does get odd. And, you know, I liken it to what I said about F1. I don't think this movie came out the right time of year. It's a horror type movie. It should have been closer to like Halloween, October, something along those lines. It's just it's like what happened with like Last Voyage in the Meter last year. It came out in August, and I'm watching what's that last year or the year prior? Either way, year prior to me. And I'm watching. It's like, why did we not get this in October? I'm not saying on Halloween. I'm just saying in October, September-ish. It's a vampire. It's Dracula, for fuck's sake. I mean, granted, Nosferatu came out in Christmas and did very well for itself, but point being, that time of year, like I wanted to sometimes, I would love to talk with these executives and go, okay, tell me, what was the mindset about this release? I need to know. Because you guys know you didn't make a lot of money, right? You actually kind of lost some money. What was the mindset? You had this cool horror movie that you could have dominated lesser months in or more appropriate months in. Like, honestly, if this had come out in February, probably would have dominated February. Because February was light this year. We had Captain America, Paddington, and one other thing I can't remember. There was like lesser movies too, but like those were like the big ones. So you throw that there, February is shown. If you get the right movie in that month, you will dominate. So I don't know what the mindset is. Just like I still can't figure out what the mindset is about you, Mission Impossible. $561 million. Congrats, you're still chugging along. Also, congrats, you still haven't even broke even yet. But look, this is nothing against the film, except for the fact the film is a little long. Probably could shave 10, 15 minutes off. Would have been fine. Would have got more screens. Would have made a little extra money, probably. But what you gonna do? Either way, it's not a bad. It's a good film. Just kind of see. Mission Impossible problem has nothing to do with its release date. It had to do with too large of a budget. It really did. Now, I've heard a lot of people kind of give their explanations of why they think that's the case, why they inflated why the budget was so large. And any of those options could be true, minus the COVID thing. Again, because these weren't done back to back, as far as I know. Unless they were given the budget at the same time for this one as they were for the previous one. In which case, then maybe that makes sense. But, yeah, now this just comes down to mismanaging of money, I guess. Because Paramount, unfortunately, is a studio that is struggling right now, from what I understand. It is not doing well in terms of its, profit, all that. They are losing money at the moment. Paramount Plus is not doing them any favors at the moment. So, materialists. $40 million flat right now. It's still not profitable. If I remember correctly, this film's made on like 20, 25 million, something like that, which is high for a A24 budget, but low for other standards. And it's not making its money back, but really, this was not a movie, I think. A24 very rarely is concerned about the profit margins. They clearly have, whoever owns the company is clearly someone with money, because they are there for the prestige more than anything else. Every once in a while, they do get a movie that does make money. Everything Everywhere All at Once was not only an Oscar winner, but also profitable. So every once in a while, they do make a movie that makes money. But yeah, they're in it more for the prestige, which apparently this film, I've heard mixed things. Like the reviews are good, but I've heard from people like I respect saying that yeah, it's not really that funny of a movie, despite how it's kind of being portrayed. Ballerina, a little over 2 million, 105 million, 1. Yeah, it's not doing great, unfortunately. It just, again, I've given me reasons. I've given me reasons why the movie didn't do so well. Yeah, I've given my reasons. And again, I think it really mostly comes down to two things. It's one, maybe people didn't want a John Wick type film in that world without John Wick, possible. Mind you, he's in the film, but not starring him. And then B, or one or A, and then B, again, the pushing off the release date, and therefore we just kind of got tired seeing the trailers and being released in kind of the month it's in now. That wasn't actually the best strategy initially. In fact, if you actually look at the John Wick films real quick, for their release dates, hold on, John Wick. Mr. Vic. Let's actually look at where each of those films released in, because I think I'm really onto something with that release date. So the original John Wick released, if I remember correctly, it was like in October 23rd, 2014. Okay, I remember seeing that in theaters with a friend. Second one released in February. Made sense. You can, like I said, you can clean house with the right movie in February. The third one released in May. Okay, so the third one was released in May 2019, and that was the year of Endgame too. To be fair, so fair's fair. That one did release in the summertime, and then March. Okay, so but the third one released in March. The fourth one released in March and made the most. So you do have one example of one releasing in May of all things, but that's May. And it was good counter programming, and the franchise was just riding heights, and it's still a John Wick focused film. So, and you didn't have these films being pushed off constantly because of whatever reasons. So yes, while it definitely shows that it could have worked, I think all the other evidence is showing that this movie did not have the right release date. It was in the wrong time of year, I think. That's my final thoughts, Jim. But Karate Kid Legends, man, are a million or so. It's currently at 102 million, 102 million to be precise. I think it's just going to taper out and make a little bit, either break even or make a little bit of a profit. Final Destination Bloodlines made a little over almost 1 million. 228. I mean, it's pretty done its run, but it's a winner. Another winner for Warner Brothers. Phoenician Scheme around 700 grand. That actually went on to make a little bit, not actually make money, but made more money than I thought it was going to make. Life of Chuck kind of just came and went. Everything else is pretty much minor at this point. So that's the box office this week. This following week, I think we can all assume who number one's going to be, Jurassic World Rebirth. After that, there's such a big gap between this week's number one and How to Train Your Dragon number 2 that I do feel confident F1 will be number 2. I also feel confident How to Train Your Dragon will be number 3. That being said, who fights out for the 4th and the 5th spot? Because it's probably going to be either Megan or Ilio, respectively in the top 5 still. I'm going to go Ilio. It took less of a drop. Well, I mean, we don't know what the drop's going to be for Megan, but Ilio's got good reviews. I actually see it maybe being low 40s, high 30s next week. Maybe. And Megan's probably taking well over a 50% drop, whereas I actually don't see that for Ilio. And even if it is, Ilio still made more this week. So I'll go Ilio, Megan 2.0. So really, it's the exact same, just pop Jurassic World up top. So that's my thoughts. What do you think of this week's box office? Why do you think F1 maybe didn't do as well as it should have? Or when maybe it's going to have these legs like Avatar or something like that? Do you think How to Train Your Dragon will cross 500, 600 million? Do you think Ilio has a chance? And what about the future of Megan or the 28 Years Later franchise? Let me know your thoughts on these if you got any thoughts. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.